Have you ever seen somebody doing something amazing and just wanted to get in on the action? Maybe they're trying some new food and they are loving it. And you're like, ooh, can I have a little taste? Or they're trying some new, sport, some new activity. They were the first one on the roller coaster, whatever. They come off and they are like on fire. And you're like, oh, okay, I want to get in line. Sometimes we're hesitant to try it first. But once we see somebody else doing something awesome, it's like, give me a piece of that. And that's exactly what happens in section 113. Once Joseph proves that yes, you can ask God questions, and yes, God will answer them. Because notice verse 7 of section 113. It begins with this beautiful intro. Questions by Elias Higbee. He must have been sitting in watching Joseph ask these questions about Isaiah. And he's like, can I get in on that action? And the answer is yes. Go ahead, Elias. What's on your mind? He asks, what is meant by the command in Isaiah 52nd chapter, first verse, which saith, put on thy strength, O Zion. And what people had Isaiah reference to? I mean, this is a pivotal chapter in the book of Isaiah. It's one that keeps being brought up in the book of Mormon. Abinadi loses his life over this verse. Jesus brings it back when he appears in 3rd Nephi. Really a pivotal passage. But then keep going, and Elias still has some more questions. Or actually, the Lord has an answer. He had reference to those whom God should call in the last days. Again, Isaiah always had this view on the future, Christ's day, our day, not only his own day. And so those whom God should call in the last days, who should hold the power of priesthood, to bring again Zion and the redemption of Israel, and to put on her strength, is to put on the authority of the priesthood, which she, Zion, has a right to by lineage, also to return to that power which she had lost. This goes so beautifully with what we've been seeing in section 112 to the apostles, earlier in 113 to the first presidency, namely Joseph Smith himself. We've got work to do in this final dispensation. We've got to gather Israel, and that's going to take all the strength we can muster. It's going to require priesthood ordinances, which require priesthood authority. And so can we live up to those privileges? Can we lay hold of the power of God inherent in the ordinances of the priesthood? Can I live up to the promises God has made to me in terms of the powers of godliness that Melchizedek ordinances convey? Talk about putting on strength. And Isaiah was chomping at the bit to see the latter days do it. Now that's Elias's first question. His next one, again, same chapter, up here in verse 9 and 10. What are we to understand by Zion loosing herself from the bands of her neck? That's the second verse. And the Lord's answer, we are to understand that the scattered remnants are exhorted to return to the Lord from whence they have fallen. There's restoration coming out of apostasy, which if they do, the promise of the Lord is that he will speak to them or give them revelation. Same thing. See the 6th, 7th, and 8th verses. The bands of her neck are the curses of God upon her, or the remnants of Israel in their scattered condition among the Gentiles. Oh, so we're coming back to scattering and gathering of Israel all over again, which, by the way, is one of the key messages of the book of Isaiah. It's one of the reasons the Book of Mormon quotes it so often. It's always in a context of gathering Israel through gathered Israel that's already happened, namely the restored gospel, and through the atonement of Jesus Christ. To see this in terms that Isaiah painted, though, imagine the bands on your neck. The northern kingdom has already been carried off by the Assyrians and scattered, with some neck chains most likely. Later, the Jews in Jerusalem would be carried captive into Babylon. Neck chains once again. Are we still seeing Israel in their scattered state as being in bondage? Then no wonder we are sent with truth, since it's the truth that sets them free. That's our job. Elias, thanks for asking. I'm glad that in the midst of Joseph's wrestles with himself, and whether or not he was living up to his prescribed and prophesied role from Isaiah 11, Thank you, Elias, for fast forwarding to Isaiah 52 and seeing if we're all living up to that role. By the way, if Joseph can ask, and if Elias can ask, then you and I can ask. We can get in on that action. We can be reassured by those who have brought questions to the Lord in the past to know that God is more than willing to respond to our questions in the present.